GameSpot got the exciting chance to dive into Sumeru early and take a look at the new characters, Dendro element, and explorable lands for a test drive. So let's take a look at what you should know about Genshin Impact's massive 3.0 update and the lush lands of Sumeru. First, whatever you do, don't rush Sumeru. It's not going anywhere. As a matter of fact, the desert areas as of now are still time gated, similar to what we saw with the release of separate islands in Inazuma. So take your time with the content. What I would focus on is finding the essentials first. Focus farm Dendroculus if you want to have the Dendro Traveler powered up quickly, unlock the Dendro artifact domain near the chasm, and maybe farm materials as you need for specific characters. Otherwise, don't pick Sumeru's puzzles and loot clean. This area is beautiful and speedrunning through it is almost a disservice to it. I'll go into the actual lands of Sumeru later in the video. But first, we got a hands-on preview a week ahead of time on the two brand new characters. Collei, the junior forest ranger, previously seen in Genshin comics, and Tighnari, although they chose to pronounce it as Tighnari in-game.
This is my master, Forest Watcher Tighnari.
Tighnari is a Dendro burst DPS and was a blast to play. Unfortunately, my account had him at Constellation 6 with trash artifacts, so it wasn't the most relatable Tighnari, but given the right teams, he has a chance to absolutely demolish enemies with ease. His weapon of choice is a bow and arrow, with charge shots that follow up with homing attacks to unleash high Dendro damage. His skill tosses out a noxious cloud in front of his opponents, doing Dendro damage and causing them to get confused and attack in random directions. His ultimate unleashes a delayed barrage of homing arrows that do high damage and can take down targets quickly. His skill's passive though allows any follow-up charge shots to be shot much more quickly, and he can hold this passive into his next barrage, making him a deadly ranged burst DPS.
One with the forest!
Collei is a Dendro support character who wields a bow and arrow as well as her main weapon. Her skill is a large boomerang that is tossed out and deals Dendro damage on cast and on return, and summons a ring of Dendro around the character. And her burst creates a large Dendro explosion in a small area. Now let's talk about the new element to Genshin Impact, Dendro. This element brings a lot to the table, and has opened a lot of doors for older characters who were previously not considered meta. So this update will shake things up for invested players. So how does Dendro interact with other elements? First, Dendro does not react with Geo or Anemo, which is bad for Geo, but this can be beneficial for Anemo actually, specifically for bursts that absorb other elements, which can create large areas of fast applying elements that react to Dendro separately, and create some extremely strong teams. Second, it doesn't react with Cryo, although it can coexist at the same time with Cryo, which sometimes can keep Dendro applied on the enemy for a longer time, which is useful in certain teams. Pyro and Dendro is an old reaction that's fairly straightforward. It creates burning, which does damage over time. Hydro and Electro though are where things get interesting, and I'll show examples of some teams that incorporate each type of reaction. Applying Hydro and Dendro causes Bloom. Once you've dropped a Bloom Seed, it can react again with two more elements, Electro and Pyro. Electro causes Hyper Bloom and sends damaging homing attacks at your enemy.
Another test.
And hitting a seed with Pyro instead causes Burgeon, an explosion that does immediate damage in a small area.
Time for takeoff.
Things are about to get dicey.
Now for Electro. Applying it to an enemy with Dendro causes Quicken, seen with this green lightning, a state that has the ability to boost damage further for either element. Hitting Quicken enemies with the follow-up Electro attack causes Aggravate, which is bonus damage for Electro attacks.
75, Anemo test 6308, stand clear.
And hitting Quicken enemies with Dendro attacks causes Spread, which is bonus damage for Dendro attacks.
Can't see.
These reactions can give new life to older characters such as Lisa and Toma, giving them a chance to be used as specialized Dendro teams, which is an awesome way to buff characters and shake up the meta without directly changing the characters themselves. Small other updates are making their way as well, such as elemental resonances like Dendro, boosting elemental mastery by a flat amount, and double hydro switched from healing bonus to HP instead. They are also adding multiple older artifact domains to the strongbox for you to turn in your fodder into better sets. The lands of Sumeru itself consist of multiple beautiful biomes, cities and villages, and secrets to uncover, with a blight taking over portions of the map that only vision holders can traverse through. It's your job to clear these areas and help the people of Sumeru. Sumeru also has more underground exploration as well, with a maze of tunnels you can discover. New enemies, new quests, new materials to gather, all orchestrated by a beautiful soundtrack will keep you enthralled in the land of Sumeru. Let us know what you're most excited about in the massive Sumeru update. And for all things gaming, keep it here on GameSpot.